Welcome to GNT, your one-stop shop for gaming news and whatever else we want to talk about. I'm Nick.
And I'm Brandon.
Today we're going to start talking about E3. We're going to go through each of the conferences, and we're going to start with EA. The first thing they showed here was Titanfall 2.
This game looks good. I like the concept of the first one, but with no campaign in the first one, I didn't really want to buy it as a multiplayer game only.
Yeah. Did you play it at all?
I played the beta, and it was fun, but to play it as a multiplayer game only, I just wasn't interested in it. This looks with a story. I might pick this one up.
Yeah, I didn't play any of the first one. I really like this one. This the way they start out with all the mechs and stuff.
It looks like they added a lot as far as that goes too. They added more diversity as far as the mechs and the different technology in the game.
Yeah, I didn't know the mechs could act on their own though. I'm assuming it's that way, the same way in the first one.
Yes, they had patrol modes and they could follow you or defend spots, and then you could jump back into them. So they did have some abilities on their own.
Mm.
It's where a lot of other games copied the different wall scaling and stuff. They tried to add that into them because of the success that was in Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could see it a lot in Call of Duty.
Yeah, with the suits and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the campaign seemed interesting. The mech that seems like you use almost had a personality.
I think adding a campaign will do them a huge favor, because many people aren't necessarily interested in the multiplayer aspect, even though that is such a big part of it these days. Having a single player campaign is where a lot of people find enjoyment, and I think it looks like they've gone above and beyond to make a really compelling story or campaign mode. So
yeah, games without single player, your audience is almost more of a hardcore audience. Like if I don't know much about the game, I'm probably not going to get it just for multiplayer. If it looks like it's a good single player and multiplayer, then I'll be more likely to get it. Same with Overwatch. Like I played the beta for it, and it was good, but I don't think I could have played it for that long just the multiplayer.
But it seems like it's doing surprisingly well with their player base of over 8 million people.
Yeah,
so that's good to see that that's another new title that's done well for itself.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a recurring theme where it doesn't necessarily have to be a sequel to do well. These developers are making new titles and they're doing well. So
yeah.
Mass Effect. I played the first two of these, enjoyed them a lot. The third one just didn't get me involved in the story, I guess, as much as the first two did. So I never made it very far in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played the first one and never beat it. I don't know. This one seems like it's more of a new story. I don't know if it's branching off on its own.
I think they ended the Commander Shepard storyline at the end of the third one. So, yes, I think this is a new take on it, which I think in a way they're going for sort of a No Man's Sky feel where you're finding these planets and really exploring them. Obviously, this won't be as the same scale as No Man's Sky.
Mm.
But it should be interesting. They've got a lot of good lore with the Mass Effect games that this looks really promising.
And it's a good place to, once you get into 2 or 3 games, like I thought about getting back into it, but it just takes so long now. this is a good place to join on if you're either new to the series or, I guess, new to the series. It's a new FIFA game. I never really got one FIFA game. I don't know, just wasn't crazy about the gameplay, the mechanics, and I think I got 15. What's interesting is this one is going to have a new mode called, it's like a single player, I think it's called The Journey, and you follow a player in and out of the game. You can follow their story and the struggle and how they got into professional soccer.
Soccer is a very fluid sport, so they really will have to work on making it fluid to get people interested in it.
I know they came out with the card system, which I think was really popular. You get different cards for different players, and I think you could actually even buy or sell them. Kind of following with Counter-Strike Global Offensive with their skins, and I think other games have done that with cards too. A lot of money in it.
Yeah, microtransactions seem to be a reoccurring trend. And it's not necessarily bad as long as you're not paying to win.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then obviously that generates bad results. But
Rust, that was a game they had microtransactions, and they said it's not going to affect the game. It'll just be skins, or I forget what you could buy a drop, and I think it came with a gun or something. Oh man, people were really mad. You get this OP weapon by paying in the game, but this was Fee. It's a new EA. Seemed like this year they were trying to, actually a lot of these companies seemed they were trying to push for more indie games, and that they were supporting indie games. EA Originals is coming out, and they think they said they'll pick a few games a year that they help the smaller company create, publish, and distribute. And this was the first one, I think. So, and really it helps EA, gives them more games to get them away from just sports and Battlefield, basically.
It also helps the gaming community. All it takes is, something like this that could spawn a lot of really good games, from game developers that, need a little bit extra help. It's promising because it seems like a few years back all we were getting was sequels.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing, but it adding new stuff into the mix is good to see, and telling new stories and going new directions with gameplay and whatnot is always exciting to see.
Yeah, because before, if you didn't like Call of Duty, then you were kind of in trouble as far as new games go. The new Madden, I think same with FIFA. I mean, FIFA, they added the new game mode, but these sports games, each year they look better, and they change little things to make the games better, which is good, but I don't think you'll see anything mind-blowing from Madden or FIFA.
Apart from the graphics, which, I mean, in a sports game, that does help. I mean, it does, get you deeper into the game. So, as long as they put forth the effort and, really try to push the graphical boundaries, that's promising.
Battlefield 1. I'm really excited for this game. I've been saying it seems like years, I don't think it's been that long, but I've been saying that Call of Duty should go back, like remaster Call of Duty 2 even. I think it would sell really well. So everything had been going into the futuristic type games, which was alright the first game or two, but I don't know, I've gotten tired of it. I'm really excited to go back to World War One.
With the technology and graphics and stuff that we have today, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with this. The scale could be just epic.
Yeah.
And with destructible environments that EA has always been known for, like in the Battlefield Bad Company series, opens a lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities. This game looks really good. Always been a fan of the big scale of the Battlefield games. You're not confined to a smaller map. If you like to kind of hang back and snipe people or even spot people, you can play sort of a supportive role. Or if you like to be in the fray, you can do that. Or if you like to do the vehicles, you have that option. Whereas, in the Call of Duty games, they used to have vehicles in some of them, but now not so much. So
they were talking about the big vehicles you drive. There was there was an armored train. Was it a blimp or Zeppelin?
Zeppelin, yes, yeah.
I think you can drive all those too, which would be awesome.
Yeah, the Zeppelin would be really interesting.
The big tanks, especially after a disappointing. Well, moving on to our next game, the disappointing not being able to drive the AT-ATs in Battlefront. Hopefully they learn a lesson from that. And
it's funny because the game, I was really excited for the game, and it just it was a one-trick pony. The graphics were great. The gameplay was relatively stale.
Yeah.
And that's sad because it had so much potential. With a majority of gamers liking the Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to screw up a Star Wars game. Not to say that they screwed it up, but they just didn't take advantage of everything they could have.
Especially after the last one being so popular. I think it was just called Battlefront 2, the one before it.
Yes, yeah.
It's so good. Now, and I don't know. Maybe they were trying to make too much money off it. But
well, I think with anything, they try to reinvent the wheel and add things that aren't necessarily needed. You almost need to keep it simple in a way. Too many developers these days are taking games that were successful and doing remakes or reimagining, and they're trying to change them too much to update them. The things that made those games great was the gameplay. If you update the graphics, then you're going to have the best of both worlds. You get to have the good graphics, and you have to get that classic gameplay that everybody liked. One in mind sticks out to me is the Final Fantasy VII remake. I was really excited whenever they announced it, but that excitement died a little bit with the combat system that they're introducing. I don't like that action-paced. I kind of like that strategic turn-based gameplay that was in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So the fact that they changed that has me kind of disappointed.
Well, and my two favorite things from the original Battlefront 2 were Clone Wars and the space battles.
Oh, the space
two
battles.
Two things that are not in the new games.
Epic.
Clone Wars or space battles. So it's like... Now, they did say in one of the interviews, I forget the name of the woman that was working on one of the games, was working on the new Battlefront 2. And she said that they're working on the new content from new films. She said, we're listening to our players, so... I don't know, maybe they'll add some space battles in there, and I might be interested, but we'll see.
I mean, I think they did capture the scale of the battles in Battlefront, but they had it sort of a Battlefield feel with a Star Wars theme over it, and I think that they lost that with this Battlefront. Now, I think that they'll be able to change that back to the good stuff.
Now, it really seemed like they could have just taken Battlefield, reskinned it with the Star Wars guns, and you would have gone Battlefront.
And it would have been awesome.